It's 2 p.m. You've been staring at the same screen for an hour. Nothing is happening. Your brain feels like it's wrapped in wet cloth. Then something shifts. The house gets quiet, the notifications slow down. The clock hits 11 p.m. And suddenly the version of you that was useless all day wakes up. You start thinking clearly. Ideas arrive. You open the thing you've been avoiding for 3 days, and it actually gets done. You feel like yourself again. And then you lie awake at 2 a.m. actually productive, wondering, what is wrong with me? Why can I only function when the rest of the world is asleep? 3 things. The biology that makes some brains genuinely peak later. The psychology that makes night feel like the only safe place to think. And the honest test that tells you which one you're actually dealing with. First, the most important reframe of this entire video. Because most people who experience this carry a specific shame. A quiet belief that needing the night to function means they're lazy, broken, or undisciplined. They're not. There's a real biological explanation for why some brains genuinely come online later, and a real psychological explanation for why some brains only feel free after the world goes quiet. Both are valid, both are different. Start with the biology. Every human body runs on an internal timing system called the circadian rhythm, a roughly 24-hour cycle that regulates alertness, sleep pressure, body temperature, and hormones. Your personal preference within that cycle, whether you naturally peak earlier or later, is called your chronotype. This is not merely preference, it is partly rooted in physiology, while light exposure, habits, age, and schedules can also shift it. Chronobiologist Till Roenneberg at Ludwig Maximilian University in Munich has spent decades mapping chronotype distribution. His data shows a wide spread, with a significant portion of people whose biological alertness peaks hours later than the social standard. For a genuine evening-type person, 9 a.m. isn't just early. Their alertness rhythms may still be closer to their biological morning. The brain is technically awake, but not yet at its window. Asking an evening type for peak performance early in their biological day can be like asking a morning type to perform long after their best window has passed. The capacity is there. The timing isn't. Research on the synchrony effect suggests that some types of performance can improve when testing aligns with a person's preferred time of day. Evening types genuinely show stronger cognitive performance later in the day, which means that 2 p.m. brain fog isn't always laziness. For some people, it's biological misalignment, a nervous system that hasn't reached its actual window yet, being asked to perform before it's ready. Roenneberg also named the social cost of this mismatch, social jet lag. When your biological clock and your social schedule don't align, your body experiences something similar to crossing time zones every single day without traveling anywhere. You're tired at the wrong times, alert at the wrong times. Living in permanent low-grade jet lag because the world was built around a morning schedule and your body runs a different one. Second, even if your chronotype is genuinely evening-leaning, there's almost always a psychological layer sitting on top of the biology. And for many people, this layer is bigger than the biology. During the day, your attention rarely belongs to you. A notification appears. Someone walks in. An email arrives that creates 3 new tasks. You remember another obligation that's been waiting since Tuesday. Even when nobody actively interrupts you, part of your brain stays available for interruption. You're listening for the next demand. You're doing the task and monitoring everything around it simultaneously. At night, that possibility disappears. The phone slows down. The house becomes still. The people who might need something are asleep. And for the first time all day, your attention stops feeling borrowed. Fewer interruptions also make deep, absorbed focus easier. Night does not necessarily create that state. It may simply remove what was preventing it. There's also a less obvious psychological layer. Some people can't focus when they feel watched. During the day, work is visible. Someone might evaluate the result. Notice how slowly it's moving. Ask why it isn't done yet. That creates performance pressure before the work has even started. You're not just trying to complete the task, you're imagining how the attempt will look to everyone who might see it. At night, the imaginary audience disappears. Nobody is waiting, nobody is checking, nobody can interrupt the first ugly attempt. Your brain is finally allowed to make something imperfect, to explore without immediately turning every thought into a performance. And that permission, not the darkness, is often what unlocks the focus. Research among Hadza hunter-gatherers found that natural differences in sleep timing meant someone was awake during most observed nighttime periods. Researchers proposed the sentinel hypothesis. Variation in sleep timing may once have helped groups maintain awareness through the night. This remains a hypothesis, but it offers a different way of seeing the late-night brain. Not a modern defect, but a pattern that may have once served a purpose for the group. Your late-night alertness may not be a malfunction. It may simply be a variation that outlasted the environment it was built for. Here's the honest split. Two completely different people work best at night. They look identical from outside, they're not. The first is chronotype alignment. Your biological peak genuinely arrives later. When night comes, you're not escaping anything. You're simply finally hitting your window. The brain isn't being relieved, it's being aligned. The second is chronostress relief. The day was so overloaded, so interrupted, so performance-laden. That night is the only moment you can think without an audience. The brain isn't being aligned, it's being released. Same late-night productivity, completely different cause. The test is simple. If you had total freedom, no job, no schedule, no obligations, would you still naturally work at night? Or would you spread your energy across the whole day? If you'd still peak at night, that's chronotype. If you'd feel fine during the day with that freedom, what you've been calling your chronotype might actually be your nervous system recovering from a day that never gave it any room. Both matter. Both deserve understanding. And confusing the two leads to solving the wrong problem. Restructuring your sleep schedule when what you actually need is fewer demands during daylight. There's also a third pattern sitting underneath both of these. Researchers, including Flor Kroos, have studied bedtime procrastination, delaying sleep despite expecting consequences the next day. A popular related phrase, revenge bedtime procrastination, describes staying awake to reclaim personal time. The day belonged to work, to obligations, to other people's schedules and needs. Going to sleep means surrendering the only free hours you received. So you stay up, not because you're productive, but because sleep means giving today back. You scroll, you research something nobody asked you to research, you start a creative project at midnight. For the first time all day, you're choosing what happens next. And that feeling of choice becomes very difficult to surrender. The painful part is that this nocturnal ownership creates daytime exhaustion. Then the exhausted day feels even more overwhelming. That's how a coping pattern starts to look like a personality trait. You call yourself a night owl, but what you might actually be is someone whose days don't leave enough room to breathe. There's a line worth carrying with you after this video ends. Your brain may not be working better at night. The night may simply be the first time all day that nobody wants anything from you. Before you go, here's one experiment worth running over the next week. Not a sleep overhaul, a diagnostic. When your focus finally appears at night, pause for 30 seconds before you start working. Don't record just the time. Record what disappeared. Did your focus arrive because it's genuinely 11 p.m. and your biological clock just hit its peak? Or because the notification stopped? Because nobody can interrupt you? Because the imaginary audience went to sleep? And try recreating one of those nighttime conditions during the day. 1 hour with the phone silenced. The door closed. No task switching. Permission to make something imperfect that nobody else will see yet. If your focus appears in that window, the secret was never midnight. It was psychological safety. And you can build more of that into your days. Come back and tell me in the comments what you found. But if your energy still reliably peaks later regardless, stop treating that as a moral failure. Where possible, place your most demanding work closer to your natural window. A night owl isn't broken. They're misscheduled. Just don't confuse honoring your chronotype with depriving yourself of sleep. Working until 3 a.m. and waking at 7 isn't alignment. It's sleep deprivation, wearing the costume of productivity. If any of this hit subscribe and like. It genuinely helps the channel reach more people who need to hear it. Tell me in the comments, when your focus arrives at night, what do you think actually disappeared that was blocking it all day? Honest answer.